Hello, my name is Katie. Join me on my adventures down on plot 15C. I will be growing fruit, vegetables and even some flowers. There will also be lots of DIY projects to keep me busy. Welcome to my Lottie, my little slice of heaven. Hello everyone and welcome to my allotment. This is my first video, so I thought I would just give everyone a quick tour and a little bit of a history about the plot. I got it back in July 2013. It's now February 2014, so I've had it for about 8 months now. It is 19 foot by 42 foot, which is about a third of an average full-size plot. So it's not very big at all, but it's the perfect size for me and it's perfect for starting out. When I got it, it was completely covered in weeds and God knows what else. So we trimmed all the grass back and all the weeds back, and with some help from my dad we hired a rotavator. Now I know you're not supposed to use a rotavator, but it was the quickest and the easiest way of just creating a clean slate, and that way I was able to get some seeds in, and I got a really good crop of French beans, Swiss chard, turnips and carrots. So it was a really good year, really good start. But this is my first full year, so I'm really excited. So let's get on with the tour. So last year on my dad's plot, I grew strawberries. This year he is decided to concentrate on vegetables, so I'm going to be growing the strawberries. We made some raised beds, 2 raised beds, and in each bed there are 24 strawberries, which will be a lot of homemade jam. Underneath the raised beds we put some chicken wire to stop the rats from burrowing under, because last year we had some problem with the rats. And then also we'll be making some cages to put on top just to stop the birds and the rats again. So that's the strawberry beds. There is a vintage galvanised trough here, which will be the home to 4 tomato plants and a gherkin plant, which will go at the end there with a little bit of a trellis just so it can climb up. So that will be interesting because I've never grown a gherkin before. And then I divided part of the plot into 3 rotation beds. So this bed will be the pea and the bean bed. There will be 2 rows of French climbing beans at the end here. There is also 3 rows of broad beans there already, which I overwintered, and they all came up, which is great. I'm really happy with them. There is also garlic here at the moment, which is actually starting to turn yellow on the tips. And I don't know if that's because of all the rain we've been having lately, but if anyone knows the problem, please let me know. And then here, as you can see, I've already dug this area ready for my peas, but I will talk about that later when we get round to planting them. Here is the main pathway in my allotment and it leads up to my shed, but I have a flower bed at each side. There is lavender here, and I don't know whether to put lavender that side as well or to put a mixture of flowers and vegetables in there, just for something different. In between the stepping stones I want to put some chamomile lawn down, just because I think it will look nice. But here's my shed. Now this shed originally started out as an 8 foot by 6 foot shed, but due to allotment rules we had to cut it down to 6 by 4. So that way, with the help from my dad again, we were able to put a little overhang on the roof, which looks really nice. He also put a stable door in and some reclaimed windows which we got from a salvage yard. And I put some cranberry bushes under there because I really want to make some cranberry sauce for Christmas dinner. So that's the plan for them. Right, so on with the other vegetable beds. Now this will be the brassica bed. There will be 2 rows of broccoli, 1 row of red cabbage, actually no, 2 rows of Brussels sprouts, 1 row of broccoli and 1 row of red cabbage going there. And I'm also hoping to squeeze 1 row of small Mars pumpkins in the end there, just because I've always wanted to grow pumpkins. So they'll be going there. There is already Swiss chard here. Now I cannot recommend this stuff enough. As you can see, it's still growing really well. It's just spurted up again actually due to all this sunny weather we're having. I planted this back in August, so it's done really well and it's delicious and it looks pretty and I just love it. So I'll be growing that again, hopefully this year. Now the last vegetable bed is the root and the potato bed. Now, as you can see, it looks a bit of a mess right now, but I assure you there are big plans for these pallets. They are going to be made into a pallet picket fence, hopefully soon, because there are deer running around my allotment, which I'm not happy about, but also because I need to start putting my potatoes in. Now there will be 3 rows of early potatoes in here called International Kidney, which are better known as Jersey Royal potatoes, but because we're not in Jersey, they're International Kidneys. So they will be going there, and then there will be 2 rows of Maris Pear second early potatoes there. Now I am growing the early potatoes because my dad, who owns the allotment just down there, he is growing the main crop, so we're going to share our potatoes. Also with the potatoes there will be 3 rows of parsnip and 3 rows of carrot in there as well. So that's all the vegetables there. Now on with the fruit bed. Now I have a slightly large fruit bed here, just because I like fruit. But the plan for this is to build a large walk-in fruit cage with net on top, just to stop the birds getting in. But obviously I won't need to do that till later on in the year, just because the bushes are still relatively small and they don't have any berries on them yet. They won't have much on them this year. I have 6 raspberry canes here, which, like I said, they're still quite small, so they won't need supports yet. There's them, and then there's 2 gooseberry bushes, which are a year old because they were taken from my dad's plot. And then there are 4 blackcurrant bushes. Yet again, these bushes here are a year old because they were taken from my dad's plot as well. And then there's 2 there. I'm not sure if you can see them very well on the ground, but they were bought end of last year, so they're still quite small. I am spaced them with a 1 metre radius around them, just so when they are fully grown there will be enough space to walk up and down them and pick all the berries. That's the fruit bed. Now this area here, this will be my flower and my wildlife bed, but I will talk about this in another video because it's going to be a big project of mine. But that's about it for the tour. So let's get on with planting the peas. So the weather's being a bit funny today. We keep having some showers, but it is February, so we can't really moan. But while it stopped, I thought I'd get some peas in quick before it starts raining again. I dug this bed earlier today, and then I raked it to a fine tilth, which is perfect for sowing seeds in. First of all, I want to mark a line where the row of peas will be going, and then I will use a draw hoe to make a trench. So I'll be growing the peas in succession, just so they will last throughout the year, and I won't get a big glut of them at the end. The first double row will be going this end here, roughly about here. And then a month later I will be putting another double row here. And then a month after that there will be another double row. Once the garlic has been harvested, they will go here. And then hopefully the first double row of peas would have been harvested, and there will be enough time to fit another row of peas there, which is the plan anyway. First of all though, I'm going to mark out a line, just because I like to be neat, and it makes things look a bit tidier, a bit nicer. So I want to make that as straight as possible. I'll be using a plank of wood to place on top of the ground there, just so I don't compact the ground down with my feet, and this will distribute the weight evenly. I'm using an old scaffold board, but any plank of wood would do. Oh, slippery. So I'll put the plank of wood about there, just so it gives me enough room to make the trench there. That's perfect. Now all I need to do is make the trench. Right, so that's the trench done. Now I've made it 2 inches deep and 6 inches wide. So let's get those seeds in before it starts raining again. Now the peas that I've chosen are called Juice Provence peas. Now these can be sown from February until July, which is perfect. And like I just said, they have to be 2 inches deep, 2 inches apart, and then the rows have to be roughly 6 inches apart. What I'm also going to do is put some extra seeds in the middle there, just as backups, just in case the mice get them. But the mice actually haven't been that bad on this plot. The broad beans all came up, which I was really pleased about. I think it might be due to the cats that live in the house just behind, which is great. Right, so that's all the peas in now. I'll pop these away. And then what I'll do is I'll take the line out. And then it's just a matter of simply using the draw hoe again and just covering the peas up. So I've just finished filling the trench in now with the draw hoe. Stay there. So I take the scaffolding board off now. That's all finished with. And then I'll just tidy the top up there with the rake. Do the other side. Looks a bit better. So the last thing to do is to just pop a little label in the end there, just so we know where they are. And then I think it's time for a cup of tea before we put those cosmos seeds in. So now that the peas are all planted and we've got the tour of the plot out of the way, it's time to grow some flowers. Last year on my dad's plot I grew cosmos and they grew very tall. They nearly grew as tall as me, and I'm nearly 6 foot, so they were very tall. This year, however, on my allotment I've decided to grow some dwarf cosmos, just because there will be other flowers like verbena and giant sunflowers adding height to my flower patch. So I thought I'd give the dwarf mix a try. That's the flowers. All you need is a seed tray. Now I've decided to use a module seed tray just because the cosmos seeds are relatively big, so they're easy to handle, and also it will just be so much easier to transplant them later on in the module tray. I'm also using John Innes compost, which is specially made for seedlings. Now any compost will do, but we had this in the garden, so I just decided to use that, and it's not very expensive, and it especially comes in handy when you've got a lot of seeds to sow. So you get your potting scoop or your trowel, anything will do, and you just fill the seed tray up. Just make sure you get in all the corners so it's all nice and in there. I could do with one of those fancy potting shed benches, but I'll just have to tidy up afterwards. And a little dirt isn't going to hurt anyone. So you want to fill the tray right to the top. Yet again, just making sure you get in all those corners. Just a little bit more there. Just brush it over. And then just scrape off the excess compost. Back in the bag. Now what you need to do is push the compost down. Now you could do with a fancy little square dibber here, but I don't have one, so I'm going to use my hands, which are perfectly fine. You could even use a little terracotta pot there. Anything will do, just so long as you push the compost down so there's enough space to put your seeds. Pull that bit of these in a little bit more. Right, so once that's all pushed down, you can start putting the seeds in. Now, like I said, these seeds are relatively big, so they are very easy to handle. Just put a few in my hand there, and I will be putting 2 seeds per module, just in case one doesn't come up. And also because the seed packet actually gives you 65 seeds, which is a lot of seeds. You just need to push the seeds down ever so gently, just so they ground themselves in the soil. Right, so that's all the seeds in now. I'm going to put those ones back. Now there's still a lot of seeds left in there, so they can be kept for another year. Right, so now all your seeds are in. All you need to simply do is cover them in a light dusting of compost. Now you could really do this with a fine sieve, just because it stops all the bumps and all the lumps getting in there. I don't actually have a sieve right now. It's on my wish list, so right now I will just be using my hands, which I find work perfectly fine. You don't sieve the dirt on top of the seeds when you sow them straight into the ground, so this is fine. Just make sure you do get all the big lumps off of there, just to give the seeds a bit of a chance. Just a little bit more. Right. So that's done. Now all you need to do is put a little marker in, just with what you've sown and what date you've sown them, because I normally forget, and it's always handy to know what is in which tray. You don't get a surprise then. The next thing to do is water them. Now I use this handy little watering can, which I think is meant for indoor watering, but it has a very, very fine rose on it, which is perfect for watering seeds in, because you don't want to disturb them, you don't want to wash them out with a lot of water. So I will water that in a minute. They will actually be going on a windowsill in my kitchen, just because I don't have a greenhouse yet, and I don't have a cold frame yet. So they will be going on the windowsill, and I will be putting one of these on, a propagator lid. Now that should keep them nice and toasty until they start to germinate, which should be in about 7 to 14 days. And then hopefully I'll have lots of pretty cosmos to put out in my flower patch. Fingers crossed that they all come up. They were really, really pretty last year, and they were really nice cut flowers, and they were easy to grow as well, which is always perfect. So I think that's about it for my first video. The cosmos have been sowed, the peas are in the ground, the first row of peas, they are in, and I've given you all a little tour of the plot. So that's it. I will be definitely trying to do some more videos. It has been really fun, and I hope you've all enjoyed it as well. There is a hell of a lot more to do. I have corrugated sheeting to put on the roof, and there's guttering to put on the shed as well. There's a cold frame to make. There's a pallet picket fence to make. I want to do a bug hotel and a hedgehog house. There is so much to do, but I'm really excited for the year ahead, and I just love being busy, so it's great. So yeah, stay tuned. I'll be posting a next video hopefully every month, maybe more if it works out alright. So yeah, thank you for watching. I better actually tidy up now.